A lawsuit disputing the results of the 2024 election is moving forward after evidence was presented to a judge containing some election irregularities. Oh no, here we go. Now, apparently, this case centers on the results of the election in Rockland County, New York, where they found some strange things. Strange things happen. Now, before I get into the details here, let me just note that this is not concrete evidence or proof that Donald Trump, along with Elon Musk, stole the election. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. But right now, the group behind this lawsuit is saying and has convinced a federal judge to move it forward that, hey, there's some strange things that happened, and we would just like to look into it. We would like to do perhaps a hand recount to verify. And I don't think that that's a bad thing. And look, MAGA guys, they did the most insane conspiracy theories, but had asked through the court, hey, we would like a recount, and they got it. And I don't think there's anything wrong with recount, especially when you have a really close election, right? I have no issues with asking for a recount in situations like that. And so, or if there's something weird that happens, and this, what they're presenting, kind of weird. So let's get into what exactly they're claiming. Okay, apparently, to according to the group Smart Legislation, which is the action arm of Smart Elections, okay, claims that, hey, in Rockland County, New York, in this particular county, Kamala Harris got no votes, none at all. Isn't that a little weird? I mean, yeah, that does seem a little strange. Okay, now Judge Rachel Tongway of the New York Supreme Court ruled that, yeah, that is kind of weird, and perhaps we should do a full hand recount. Hmm. So, yeah, that's very interesting. Now, the case's lead plaintiff is the action arm of Smart Elections, as I mentioned. They advocate for voting security and voter rights. Now, I've heard about them before, and look, I'll be honest, I expressed some skepticism about their claims of, or any claims of voter or election fraud. But again, I'm going to be honest here. What they found kind of compelling and interesting, and something that I think should be looked into. In the statement, founder and executive director of Smart Legislation, Lulu Friesdat, said, there is clear evidence that the Senate results are incorrect, and there are statistical indications that the presidential results are highly unlikely. Now, this is a very serious issue. Look, before you say, though, oh, election denier, you guys are MAGA, you're just like the MAGA that you criticize. No, hold on. For one, MAGA was 100% convinced, without any evidence presented, that Joe Biden was going to steal the election. Oh, he's going to steal the election in 2020, and then he stole the election in 2020. That's not what we're saying. That's not what this group is saying. It's saying, hey, we found something weird, and we need to look into this. We would like to know if this had, and how much of an impact it had on the election. We would like to look into this. We would like to verify this and see just what happened. Now, they said, quote, if the results are incorrect, if, being the word, it is a violation of the constitutional rights of each person who voted in the 2024 Rockland County general election. The best way to determine if the results are correct is to examine the paper ballots in a full, public, transparent hand recount of all presidential and Senate ballots in Rockland County. We believe it's vitally important, especially in our current environment, to be absolutely confident about the results of the election. And I think what they meant by the current environment is there is so much election denial that has happened. People are not listening to the results of the election, especially if you're on the right. And of course, when it comes to liberals, like, there's a lot of liberals that are like, something's fishy about this election. There's no way that Donald Trump could have won. So this is apparently trying to put to bed those fears, okay, or those ideas, like that something weird happened and maybe Trump is not a legitimate president. It's not what I'm saying, okay? I'm just saying that there are a lot of people who do believe that now. And so, yes, when you do verification, you find out the truth and you put those things to bed, whether or not they're true. Okay, but anyway, so what did they find? Now, the complaint outlines how a number of voters relayed under sworn testimony that they voted for an independent. This is Diane Sayre. However, the Rockland County Board of Elections recorded fewer votes for Sayre than should have been reported. So, well, that's interesting. Okay. Odd. In addition, 331 voters in Rockland County, New York District 35, reportedly chose Democratic State Senate candidate Kirsten Gillibrand during the 2024 elections, but allegedly none of them voted for Kamala Harris in the presidential election, which that none of them? Wait, okay, 331 voters for Gillibrand, but none for Harris? That seems strange. Now, there's a similar incident that occurred in Rockland County, New York District 55, where 909 voters opted for Gillibrand, but only 2 voted for Harris. Again, very strange. Perhaps, though, there's an explanation here. Maybe some of those voters, or all of those voters, did not like Harris and her support of the bombings in Gaza and how she didn't distance herself from Joe Biden on that. That is a legitimate issue, okay? So maybe they chose Gillibrand, but had a protest vote against Kamala Harris. That does happen. That has happened. Thing is, though, when it comes to Gillibrand, she also supported Israel. And so I don't think that theory pans out. Now, a statistician who looked at this data and compared it to the results of the 2024 election versus the 2020 election said that they found the results here in 4 out of the 5 towns making up Rockland County as quote unquote highly unlikely. So here's what Max Bonamente, a professor of physics and astronomy at the University of Alabama in Huntsville, said. Well, these data would require extreme sociological or political causes for their explanation and would benefit from further assurances as to their fidelity. So that's, again, really, really odd, really strange. And yeah, that said, I mean, there could be some, it could have been some extreme sociological or political causes at play. So, and again, I agree that, yes, further assurances wouldn't be a bad thing. Now, not only that, but apparently they presented some evidence that the drop-off in voters was pretty big. In 33 states, over 750,000 more people voted for president than Senate. And in New York, however, that drop-off is allegedly 314,000 votes, which, again, deserves a look for sure. And now they're getting their chance. And I'm not saying that there is voter fraud or election fraud or anything like that. Oftentimes, weird results happen because of technical or even human error. But that's what a hand recount might be able to determine if there is any errors, like software issues. I mean, what caused these results and how can we prevent them from happening in the future? Those are important questions. And not only that, but what's going on with the testing lab called Pro V&V? So now the question on that is, they allegedly did some updates prior to the election without any testing because they were de minimis. So, you don't have to do these. These are small, tiny, teeny, tiny little updates, right? Now, the issue with that, with not doing any testing of the updates before deploying them, is you didn't have a chance to make sure that they were malware free. Not saying that there was, but it just looks a little shady. Now, when asked about these updates that were done, day minimum, the director, Jack Cobb, told Newsweek, oh, it's because they weren't of any significance. Okay. But that said, the Post said between them, the updates covered many, possibly most of the voting machines in use across the U.S. But they're not of any significance. Well, that's not reassuring. I'm not reassured, okay? Maybe it's nothing, though. But what is curious about that is their website has been deteriorating over the past few months. I mean, throwing error messages at visitors, and just generally, like, there's only like one page that's live now. The rest you can't access anymore, which seems either a little lazy or, at worst, suspicious. I don't know. But there it is. Now, apparently, the judge found all the information here compelling enough, the findings compelling enough, to allow the suit to go forward procedurally. Okay, so it's like, yeah, we'll let it go forward. Not ruling on the merit or anything like that, just saying, all right, procedurally, you can go forward. And now there will be more hearings and stuff set in September. So I'm very curious as to what, if anything, they found. Doesn't mean the election, though, is going to be redone. That the ship has sailed, okay? Everybody knows that. They've already certified Donald Trump's not going to get removed. It's just like, if you think that that's going to happen, then, I mean, what did you think about Republicans calling for Joe Biden to be removed? Not going to happen. We don't have a vehicle for that, right? And by the way, it's not even the goal. The goal is to ensure that our voting infrastructure is not only secure, obviously, but also just accurate. And so, yes, we all want to make sure that our voting infrastructure is secure, is accurate, that companies are, held accountable for, any errors that might pop up, things like, because errors do pop up and they do happen. And so that's the goal. And yeah, I'm in support of that. So it is really interesting to see what might develop from this lawsuit. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.